Episode 30 of the Cup of Mets podcast. And if you thought that the last one was good, this one will be even better. Joined by Matt DeSantis. Matt, the Mets have taken down the Phillies, like you, myself, and Rob all predicted. They're headed to the National League Championship Series to fight for the pennant. What a time to be a Mets fan. Who would have ever imagined?
Not me, that's for sure. This team is resilient. This team fights hard. Francisco Lindor is the MVP, and if he's not, then it's just MLB baseball's idiots. But what a series! What a series! They're playing great.
Incredible. Incredible. And like like literally 63 games into the year, 63, 64 games into the year, give or take for teams. The Phillies had a 45 and 19 record. Braves were in second at 35 and 27. The Nationals were in third at 29 and 35, and the Mets were at 27 and 36 in fourth place. And now here we are on October 10th. They've knocked off the Brewers, the NL Central champions. They've knocked off the Philadelphia Phillies, and it remains to be seen. We'll find out by tomorrow night who the Mets will be playing, either San Diego or Los Angeles. But as you mentioned then and there, what a series indeed. More theatrics. I mean, the Brewer series in and of itself was wild, from game one to the heartbreak in game two to the Pete Alonso's home run in game three to win the wild card. And then you go to Philly. Dude, we recorded on the fourth, and we were saying, I mean, we were all under the impression that Tyler McGill was starting.
Yeah.
Where the hell did Kodai Senga come from?
Yeah, that was definitely a crazy shakeup. I wasn't
Dude,
expecting that. I'm pretty sure we got off the podcast and then like an hour later,
yeah,
they named Kodai Mendoza named Kodai as the starter. He's like, Kodai's starting.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, he's good to go. And I
yeah.
was like, that's hard.
I was like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? But yeah, no. Senga,
Like he didn't even take a second to think about it. He goes, Kodai.
yeah,
Kodai's going.
yeah.
Like
Kodai's
they
gone. Yeah.
knew let's just say they knew like probably 4 days before that. If they made it to that, he was the guy.
Yep.
So
And apparently he's feeling great after he made that start. He only went 2 innings through 31 pitches, but again, gave up one run, which was just one bad pitch to Kyle Schwarber to lead off the game. The Mets did win that game 6-2. We'll touch upon the theatrics in that, but just going back to last night, because obviously the most recent and the clincher in and of itself, the first time that the Mets have clinched at home, have clinched anything at home since 2006 when they beat the Marlins to win the National League East. We got to start with Francisco Lindor.
yeah.
You said it before. Last night, 2 for 5, obviously hit the grand slam in the bottom of the sixth inning. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
I could feel it too.
He joins Jim Tomei and Shane Victorino as the only two players to hit two or more grand slams in a singular postseason.
Honestly, man, words can't describe what he's doing and what
That
he's done for us this season. Like, and that's what makes an MVP. Seeing him just like cry last night in front of the fans, like something special really is happening, and like he is the centerpiece of it. Like he's making this all happen. Like he's like the engine that's driving this Mets team. And like I I don't want to give any predict. We don't even know who we're playing next round, so I'm not gonna give any predictions. But like, I just think that what's surrounding this team is like extraordinary special. And like their momentum, City Field being a fucking madhouse every time there's a game there is incredible. Seeing Grimace on the trains, it's like what's happening right now, like the air, it's like special. So us as Mets fans, like should just enjoy the moment, enjoy game by game, because the team we're looking at is very, very good and very special. Like they can go and do it in this game. In this, they can go all the way if they want to.
it's so wild. It really
No,
is.
really,
It
it's wild. It
and
is
it
wild.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I also don't necessarily have words because you're seeing it play out, right? The surrounding cast around Lindor, they're producing. Yeah, they may be producing later on in games, but they're producing. They're the cardiac kids, right? They're coming out of nowhere and coming back in games where you think they're about to lose, right? You have a starting rotation that doesn't, knock on wood, doesn't really have a weakness right now. Within Severino, Manaea, Quintana has looked great last night in a clinching game. He goes 5 innings, allowed 1 run, but it was unearned. Walked two, struck out six. Could have won another inning. He only had 90 pitches, but they pulled him after that. Reed Garrett then came on. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like when you get to this point in the season, and you hear it all the time, and as Mets fans, we're not always used to it, right? But it's about the teams that have the depth within the starting pitching and that can relay it to the bullpen. Now, obviously, the bullpen has been shaky, but the fact of the matter is that every single thing from the offense to the defense to the rotation to guys like David Peterson in the bullpen being folk heroes, right? Throwing two and a third last night of shutout ball when the Mets needed him most. Those are the things that are attributing to, I think, what you're essentially saying is, the special momentum that's in the Mets' favor right now. And again, we have to hope that it continues, but night in and night out, it's a different person. But last night again, Francisco Lindor, and you know, he truly, I don't know if you obviously saw this clip, but once the Mets celebrated and they all ran up to him, because Diaz only wanted a nonchalant little, but everyone went over to Lindor. He was the guy that they were doggy piling. And then when they're all celebrating, he runs over to where the Mets dugout is and he's pumping his fist to the fans. Like, I don't even remember him as a Cleveland Guardian. He bleeds orange and blue. I haven't seen a player bleed orange and blue like this since, I mean, David Wright, to be honest with you.
Oh, and then you see like the videos of him on the field before the game with Steve and Alex Cohen, and it's personal. Like it's not like they're not hugging each other and saying hi. Like they're hugging each other because it's a personal relationship. Like
Absolutely. Did
the
you?
whole team, it's all personal. Like they made it from ownership to front office to the players that everybody can have a personal relationship. And I'm just like, I'm proud that they did this and that Steve is like changing the
The culture.
environment and culture atmosphere of the Mets, like from the lower to from the lowest bit to the top. Like, but it's incredible to see. Like,
He also mentioned in the post game last night, a big thing that he wants to do is he wants to change the perception around the Mets that
no,
they are an organization that loses in weird ways. Granted, they do.
within
We
Mets
know that.
fans, hence to Frank Fleming.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
Exactly.
like a shot. I looked at that. I was like, yo, that's a shot fired at Frank
Yeah.
Fleming.
Yeah. But you know what? It's not only Frank Fleming, it's, those jokes, the same old Mets. Oh, the Mets are gonna Mets again. Are they gonna win the World Series this year? We don't know, right? But at the end of the day, this team has come back from being 11 games under 500 to playing 5 games in 6 days or whatever it was, 6 games in 7 days against three really good teams, and they were able to come out on top, able to clinch in Atlanta, able to go take 2 of 3 in Milwaukee, and then you took 3 of 4 in a 5-day span against the Phillies. And the
Yeah.
Phillies, I don't know about you, the Phillies looked like they saw a ghost. They were lucky that it even made it to a game 4. The Mets gave them game 2.
Yeah, they did. I agree. Like it should have been a sweep.
And and that's what sets it up. For me, the biggest thing was getting ahead 1-0 because you were facing Zach Wheeler. And to be honest, I didn't know how that game was going to turn out. But again, the magic happened late, right? And but we've been seeing it nonstop over the course of this season, and that's why it's just so special. And again, just last thing on Lindor, the humility, the individual he is. Slap that C on his chest, Steve. I know that I've said it a million times, but he is the captain. Everybody looks up to him. everyone knew that that was happening in the in the ballpark. Everyone, like David Stern said it, I think post game, he mentioned that everyone in the ballpark kind of felt like it was going to happen. The Mets had runners on base for the entirety of the game. Were not able to cash in. I mean, they were 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position, left 10 men on base. So that just goes to show. But Lindor cracked that ball,
Crack,
cracked it.
crack.
And I know some people that were like, I didn't think it was getting out. I knew that that was out.
Yeah.
He barreled that thing up so beautifully,
A lot of people thought it was probably going to be a double. I was like, that thing's making it right over that wall.
and he knew it too. And I was surprised because he has shown so much energy and enthusiasm. He never shows up his opponents, but he always shows so much energy and enthusiasm. When he hit that grand slam, there wasn't even like a big time slap, their sign towards the bullpen. It was just a very casual little wave to the bullpen. He didn't flip the bat, he didn't watch it, he didn't do anything. And it was almost as if he said to himself, okay, we just went ahead 4-1. We still have 3 more outs to get, and then we have 8 more victories to go.
Yeah, like don't celebrate right now. Yeah, it's great getting to the champion NLDS. Um, but like there's still work to do. Like there's still more to happen. There's still games to win, and there's let's just say the hardest is yet to come.
Without a question. Without a question. But I think from my standpoint, I mean, I feel pretty good. I don't know about you, dude.
I feel good. This team looks good. The mojo around the team is good. Um,
Uh,
I'm like I said, I'm not gonna start spitting off shit because I don't want to jinx the boys. But I
We've
think
spit shit the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of
we're
come true.
we're looking good. Let's just say that we now have time for our bullpen, our pitching staff, the team to just rest. I don't want that much rest. We saw what that did 2015 versus the Royals.
Yep.
I don't like too much rest. So hopefully we'll see what happens with San Diego versus LA. But honestly, like let's get it.
Without a doubt, dude. I mean, there's not much else to say. And
I
then
think game one would be on Monday, right? Or Sunday.
game one would be on Sunday. And obviously against either the Padres or the Dodgers, and we'll find out on Friday night. Obviously it's not just Lindor, and that's the greatest part about it. And during the Milwaukee series, they were winning. Game one, they exploded in an inning. But game two, they left a bunch on board. In game three, it was really one swing by Alonso that put them out in front. So I think coming into the Philly series, we were all questioning, all right, how's the offense going to do? We're all pretty confident in the pitching, but how's the offense going to do? Obviously, Lindor showed up, but Pete Alonso went deep again. Another
Yeah.
opposite field home run.
I know. And I hope he keeps it up. And if he does, pay him, whatever. Like if he does it, pay him. Like
He's changing the narrative. He's
good.
changing the narrative. And I listen,
Or win the Mets a World Series. I don't care how much you fucking pay him. Like realistically, I don't care.
yeah.
Like be who we know you are, and don't just strike out when like we don't always need a home run pretty much for
And
him.
dude, it's crazy when I'm watching him. He's got a 1,160 OPS here in this postseason, which obviously is extraordinary, but he's not reaching for pitches.
Yeah.
He's not. I even saw JD Martinez laying off some pitches last night. He was getting struck out on the splitter, but he was laying off some of those sliders and curveballs away. And I was like, all right, we make the adjustment now here in the postseason. I mean, I'm happy it's happening,
Yep.
but they're just going with the pitches and they're not chasing right now. And that's leading to sustained success up and down the order.
Was gonna say, like, honestly, JD Martinez should not be in the lineup. Honestly.
No, but with that said, 286 average and 14 at bats thus far in the postseason. He really has not looked that bad. And I think that the Mets have a good formula versus right and left-handed pitching. Lefties, obviously, you go to JD. Right-handers, you go to Winker. And we've seen the impact Winker has made. It hits an absolute bomb, right, in game three. And obviously, he's going to show that enthusiasm and that energy. But just being able to go and platoon over at designated hitter is such a good thing for the Mets right now because, if JD's down, Winker will pick him up and vice versa. And I
Yeah.
think that that's right. That's like what the lineup needs.
Yeah, for sure. And we just at this point, like we need guys that are gonna give us the best shot to get on base and to win. So I trust Carlos Mendoza.
I trust him with everything right
I
now.
think
He's pushing all the right
I
buttons.
think he's a manager of the year. He should be. Um,
Absolutely. He's pushing all of the right buttons. He knows when to go to pitchers here in the postseason. And that's been the biggest thing that I've been noticing, right? First time manager. He's known, when a pitcher's had enough, granted. I thought that in game two of the wild card series, he should have left Manaea out there a little bit longer, right? I said that, but I really like the way that he's managed the bullpen, the lineup construction. It's been pretty standard for the first time all season. There hasn't been a lot of moving pieces, and I think that he's been able to do that because a lot of players have kind of found where they fit within the lineup. I mean, look at a Mark Vientos, right, hitting in that two hole where the Mets would be without him, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. 429 here in this postseason through 28 at bats, two home runs, seven RBIs, 1,181 OPS. Every time Vientos hits the ball, it's hard hit. And I don't know about you, every time he comes up, he's starting to become more and more of a. I want to watch Mark Vientos at bat here. I think he can go deep.
100%. I look at anybody I'm around. I'm like, that's Swaggy V. If you don't know, his name's Mark Vientos.
Hell yeah, dude. And he
I love what he's doing.
yeah, bro, splits gaps left and right, hits for power, goes the opposite way beautifully. Everything that Vientos is doing right now is correct. He's playing well in the field despite a couple bobbles that he had to charge.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
He
neither do I.
enough, and he's shown and improved himself this season. And you can see that teams are like pitching around him strategically.
Yep.
They know he can fucking hit that ball. You give him something good to mash, he's gonna mash it. So
And that's quite a statement. Rookie year, right? Teams are pitching around him, and he's adjusting to that as well. They're I when
yeah,
was it? When was it? Game one, right? Jeff Hoffman had him out in front on two sliders, goes again with another slider on the outside part of the plate, and that was the ball that tied up the game for the Mets when they came back and won. And that started that 5-run inning for
yeah.
the Mets in game one against the Phillies. But it all Vientos was the first one that drove in a run, and he ends up poking a slider that Hoffman painted beautifully on the corner, but was able to pull it to left field. And we've seen multiple occasions that he goes to the opposite field as well. He's a complete hitter
Yeah. No, for sure. He
from
is.
all angles,
He's a
right?
complete
And
player.
dude, he's phenomenal. And then I just feel as if every player right now is 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 just ready for the moment. And I don't think anybody's afraid of it. I think that they're all embracing this. They're recognizing how far they've come. And I think that they're thinking to themselves, let's go out and win this. We can do this, right? If we took down if
Possibility at this point. So
Yeah, like if they took down the Brewers and the Phillies, they can take down the Dodgers or the Padres, and then whoever comes out of the AL.
Braves, Brewers, and Phillies.
Yeah, yeah, essentially the Braves, Brewers, and Phillies.
Put the
Absolutely.
we put the Braves down.
Yep. Yep. How about Brandon Nimmo crying last night in the center of the board,
A
right? That
lot
was
of them were
emotional.
crying, bro. A lot of them were crying. Like they love this team, they love the organization, they love the city. So that's realistically all you could want in players is to want to play for your team. And that's
Yeah.
what Steve and Alex have done.
And Nimmo lost his grandmother earlier
I didn't know.
earlier on in the week, and that was a big reason why he was so emotional.
Did he go back to Cheyenne for that?
No,
He skipped he skipped the services.
I mean, I can't attest to when the services were, but
Interesting.
you know, he stayed and he revealed to the players, I think after the game one victory, he had a big game, went 2 for 4 in that game, in the game that Senga tossed. But there are so many storylines to this season and there's so much emotion. And I think the players are just all in. They love Mendy, they love the city, they love the organization. And I think that this team is far from done. And I think we're just getting going. And again, if somebody would have told me in May that this would be occurring, I would have laughed in your face,
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
And then just like going back through the games, I mean, we mentioned the offense and how they're firing on all cylinders from, Jesse Winker to Mark Vientos and Lindor and so on, right? And then the starting pitching, we saw Quintana pitch great last night, and Kodai Senga pitched 2 innings in game one. Spoke about how David Peterson's been the unicorn for them out of the bullpen in that game. Such a brilliant outing. Game one was amazing. Okay, if you've been living under a rock, Zach Wheeler had the Mets stymied for 7 innings. Okay, they come out, put up a 5 spot in the top of the eighth, which was chef's kiss. Okay. Mark Vientos, that was the RBI single that I was referring to earlier. Hits went down the left field line. Nimmo then singled, drove in a run. Alonso hit a sac fly. JD Martinez singled, scored a run, and then Starling Marte hit a sac fly as well. And the Mets went on to win 6-2. But in that game, right, you're looking at essentially a opener type game with Kodai only going two.
Hmm.
David Peterson then comes in, throws 3 shutout innings. Reed Garrett comes in, throws 2 shutout innings. Phil Maton, who I want to preface with, the Mets wouldn't be in the playoffs without Maton, but also he has been atrocious here in the playoffs. But he put up a scoreless inning, and then Ryan Stanek, who's been very good, he actually gave up a run in that inning. But again, the bullpen's been really good. Now, the one thing that I want to touch upon, outside of obviously all the excitement, um, because obviously we're going to talk about Sean Manaea as well, as he is just on another level right now. But in game two, the game that we were referencing earlier that the Mets could have realistically swept the Phillies, Mets were up 2-0 heading to the top of the sixth inning. They put up another run to go up 3-0. The Phillies then tied the game. Now, within that game, Severino was the one that gave up the 3 runs. Okay. The Mets then in the seventh put up a run to go up 4-3. And the eighth is where things got dicey. They bring in Jose Budo, who it's been Budo, and I feel like it's been Budo and Maton who have struggled mightily here in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Budo comes in, is only able to record 2 outs, gives up a hit. Edwin Diaz comes in. Edwin Diaz has not been good either, so he's another one.
Mhm.
He allows 3 earned runs. Bryson Stott hit a triple down the right field line, and then JT Realmuto reached on a fielder's choice. That game was crazy in and of itself because Mark Vientos, with 1 out in the ninth inning, hit a game tying 2-run home run. But going to the ninth inning, that's where I started to question some maneuvers, and this was the only concern or question mark that I really had for Carlos Mendoza throughout the series. Diaz, I think, should have been preserved for later on in the game. And I understand that you had Schwarber, Turner, and Harper coming up
Mhm.
in the end of the seventh, going into the eighth inning. With that said, you had Tyler McGill warming up. Tyler McGill has faced them many times. And I feel as if it's just my opinion. I feel as if Diaz should have been saved for later on in the ball game. Now, what really bothered me was Tyler McGill getting 2 outs with runners in scoring position in the ninth inning, and the Mets could potentially squeak their way into extra innings. And you have Nick Castellanos flailing at 2 sliders away. He then throws a slider in the dirt, which he should have done, but opposed to going back down to another slider in the dirt or a fastball up in the zone. I mean, he had 3 more pitches to work with. He lays a slider right down the dish, and Castellanos drives it to left field and allows the Phillies to win. And that's what just pissed me off. It's just kind of like,
That was the only bonehead move of the series. And honestly, if that's the only bonehead move, we win the series 3-1, whatever. So be it.
yeah, you're right. I don't know why I'm harping. I don't know
It's
why.
all good.
I don't know
It's
why
all
I'm. I don't know why I'm Bryce harping. Yeah, it's just I don't know, dude. You could pick and
Can't
choose.
always be perfect, I feel like, especially in baseball and the playoffs. October's such a tough atmosphere anywhere you go, and I feel like any way to just squeak past Philly without having to take the series back there is huge. I was scared, honestly, I was scared shitless it was going back to Philly, and I wouldn't have wanted that at all.
I wouldn't have been okay. I wouldn't have been okay that game. Obviously, we've already done one do or die situation, maybe two if you want to count the last day of the season, regular season, right? But I couldn't do that again. So thankful that they were able to clinch at home. And then again, I think it was great for the fans. Really wish we could have gotten to the ballpark, but not sure about you, but was not going to pay $300 to stand.
No.
No, I'm just not doing it. If they're in the
I'd
World
rather watch it on my TV for free.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Listen, if they're in the World Series, that's where I'll drop some money because I would want to be in the ballpark. Something that pissed me off as well. Rob and I were discussing going to Kay's Corner, Heiner's
Mhm.
Corner. Shit was closed both days
Oh, really?
for a private party. Yo, you're saying that you want to amplify the area around the stadium and you want people to enjoy festivities pre and post game, yet the only bar that's attached to the stadium is shut?
It was if you have to think, it was definitely either like employees in there, like from the Mets, and or like Steve's company at Point 72. He
Sure.
probably like loaded that up for them or something crazy.
Right. Well, they also had us like street fairs going
Mm,
on before the game and after the game. I think, you probably saw the clip of John Franco and Matt Harvey hyping everybody up before the game. So
yeah.
I think that that's also maybe they wanted to push people towards the street fair, whatever that was. I didn't really get a chance to see it, but
Mhm.
all in all, I thought that that was pretty sus. Last thing regarding the Phillies series, because truly it was just completely in the Mets' favor. There were so many theatrics from the comeback win in game one to Lindor's grand slam last night and the clincher, this, that, and the third. But just quickly, Sean Manaea.
Mhm.
Okay.
Incredible.
The dude's got ice in his veins, gave up one run across 7+ innings. That one run he left on, and Phil Maton ended up giving it up. So he went into the eighth inning in a playoff game
Yeah.
with the Mets leading 6-0. Wound up going 7+ innings, as I mentioned, 3 hits allowed, 1 run, which was earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2.25 ERA for the postseason. I It's really a toss up for me who I think that the Mets are going to go ahead and re-sign, whether it be Severino or Manaea. I don't think it's going to be both of them, but I
Well,
would I would love to toss a 4-year, $84 million contract at Sean Manaea, 21 mil a year, and see what he says.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a little early to jump into, and I love that I'm saying this, a little
I
too
know
early to jump into off-season scenarios.
how the tides have turned.
How the tides have turned. But I mean, I agree. I think, and then hearing about the qualifying offers number today, I believe it's in the 21 million range.
Yeah.
So you have to think Manaea is gonna get it, Pete's gonna get it. Do they give it to Sevy? I'm not too sure.
I feel like Sebi might accept it.
If they gave it to him, I think he would accept it. I mean,
Absolutely.
13 million to 20 million is a pretty good raise, especially for 1 year. So
Yeah.
that's essentially 2 year, 30 million.
Yeah. I think that there would be a chance, but I was actually thinking about that as well because obviously you hear from so many people, oh, are the Mets going to go after Soto? Oh, this, that, whatever. And you kind of look at the framework of how the Mets would go over their offseason. And, the one thing is that, yeah, if you were to go out and sign a big fish, you'd lose your first round pick. But with those three players that you mentioned, if Sevy were to turn down a qualifying offer and get a multi-year deal, Manaea goes elsewhere. If Pete goes elsewhere, the Mets pick up 3 compensation picks.
Yeah, I especially in baseball, I don't worry too much about the picks.
No, neither do I.
Half of
Neither do
them,
I.
70% of them turn out to be duds anyways.
Yeah, Gavin Cicchini, shout out.
Um,
Absolute
can
bum.
we take him over Trey Turner?
Yeah, we took Gavin Cicchini over a lot of players, and that's actually something that we should look into one of these days. How many players the Mets have let slip through
That
the
that
cracks?
that'll be like a off-season special where we go through and see how many fucking bums the Mets took over like stars.
Yeah, we should. That's a
But
good off-season
overall,
segment.
it's all good in Mets land. We just patiently waiting for the next games, figuring out who we're gonna play. But I don't know about you. I'll be watching Pods versus Dodgers.
I absolutely will. And who do you think's gonna win? Gut feeling.
Before I'm pretty sure I predicted Dodgers. I still think it's gonna be Mets Dodgers. What's the series at right now? Is
2-2.
it 2-2? So tomorrow night. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, honestly, I don't really care who the Mets play. They're just playing like they can beat anybody. So
Yeah. Tomorrow night, the Dodgers haven't announced their starter yet. I would assume, I mean, Walker Buehler pitched the other day. He was awful.
yeah.
I would assume that it would be Jack Flaherty because he pitched game one and they probably have him set up, or Yamamoto. I don't know when Yamamoto pitched, but I think it's a really interesting series. The Padres are very similar to the Mets in terms of they kind of have the whole package and they got hot at the right time, took the momentum right into the postseason. I think I think the I'm gonna be honest. I think the Padres are gonna go into Dodger Stadium and beat the Dodgers. So I think the Padres are gonna move on and face the Mets. Either way, though, I think they'll be in good shape. But if you ask me who I want the Mets to play, I agree with you. I don't necessarily care because I feel like the momentum and the energy that the Mets have right now is something special that I'm not really afraid of other teams. But if you were to ask me who I would want to play, I would want to face the Dodgers, quite frankly, because yeah, their offense is lethal from Shohei to Will Smith to Mookie Betts to, they Teoscar Hernandez and the list goes on. I think Freeman's hurt right now, but when you look at their starters,
Hmm.
they're really only going three or four, 5 innings tops, unless your name's Jack Flaherty, and then they're relying on the bullpen. And
Yeah.
yes, the bullpen's good, but they're going Yamamoto, Flaherty, Bueller, Landon Knack. Those are their starters here in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's beatable. Very
It's
much.
depth. It's absolutely beatable. We just need our starters to keep those offensive players down. But again, if you look at a Phillies lineup is pretty potent from top to bottom, and the Mets starters and the pitching in general were able to hold them down. Whereas you look at the Padres and the Padres, yeah, they lost Joe Musgrove, but you look at the Padres and the Padres have the likes of Yu Darvish, who's pitching tomorrow night, right? They
Yeah.
have Dylan
Good
Cease,
bullpen. They have good arms.
Michael King, Martin Perez, who's been in big time playoff situations before, and then they have arguably the best bullpen in baseball as well. So that's why to me, I'd rather face the Dodgers, but uh, we shall see.
We
We
shall
shall
see.
see. And listen, because this is a 7 game series now, or a best of seven series, I should say, I have a gut feeling it's not going to be the last time that we hop on here before the conclusion of the series, opposed to the previous two. So we all just kind of got to sit back, wait for Sunday. We'll know who we're facing tomorrow night, and as I said, we'll kick back and watch on Sunday. Hopefully, the Mets can take down whoever they're facing out in California, whether it be in Southern California in San Diego or over in Los Angeles. But things are looking good for the Mets right now. My confidence level's at a 10 out of 10. I'm being honest. And that's not me saying that they're going to go ahead and win. I'm just so proud of these guys. I'm proud to be a Mets fan. This has been an amazing run and
Said it better.
right up there with '06 and 15 as my favorite teams that I've ever watched.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it better, bro. Couldn't have said it better. Now it's time. We sit back, we wait, we figure out who we're gonna play, we go in and we attack. All I
Yes,
know is
sir.
we're gonna be on the road to start. So
We're going to be on the road to start and we're going to be some road warriors. We're going to listen, dude, I'm optimistic. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say which games are going to win or this or that in the third, but I'm optimistic nonetheless against the Padres or the Dodgers. And then On the other side, the Tigers somehow the Tigers somehow may take down the Guardians. And I actually think I predicted the Tigers to take down the Guardians. I think you may have as well. But the Tigers are on the fringes of taking down the Guardians. The Yankees are up 2-1 over the Royals.
They play tonight.
Yeah, they play tonight, so they could clinch. Could be a Subway Series, World Series. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Matt, you got any final words for us?
Nah, bro, just let's fucking go Mets. Let's see. Like I said, let's see who our next opponent is. Let's go out there and attack.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. It's exciting times in Metsland. And yeah, and hopefully we got 8 more wins in us so that at age 29, to be 30, and age 27, to be 28, we can finally see a championship.
Banner, go up. Biggest party in New York history.
Biggest party in New York history. And you know what the funny thing is that I said we can finally see a championship, but I remembered that I'm not with Rob here, and you're a Giant fan, so you've seen a championship before where I've seen nothing. So,
But I was also like, we were young, we were younger. We were in grade school. Like, I would love to celebrate an actual championship being an adult. You know what
oh
I mean?
yeah, climb a light post or something.
Exactly. Do something nuts.
Absolutely, absolutely, just go absolutely nuts. Yeah, dude, it's wild to think. Wild to think.
Sure.
As we wrap up episode 30 here, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Download that SeatGeek app, punching code Cup of Mets at first purchase. And last but not least, head over to Smackin' Sunflower Seeds, punching code Ian05405 to get 10% off. And for Matt DeSantis, I'm Ian Bosniak. Again, the Mets are heading to fight for the pennant. Can't believe it, but we're here. You got to believe, baby. Let's go, Mets. Good night, everybody.